down reading out on my porch, and this hummingbird comes over and like stares me straight in the eye. And I'm like, okay, I'll feed you. And then he immediately just drops a tiny little hummingbird shit. And I was like, yeah, I gotcha. I gotcha. I think that was the loudest way to say, you're a fucking asshole. My water's dirty. Change it.
He said, now, actually.
Yeah, demands.
I had very loud demands. They are very loud birds for something that small.
Are they?
Yeah, ours are. You can hear them screaming at each other.
Fair.
I was going to say, what does a hummingbird sound like?
Like Flit from Pocahontas, except...
Oh. Yeah. Just a little squeaky, squeaky, squeaky. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Do they actually squeak? I feel like they don't actually squeak.
They squeak.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, I can share a YouTube video of them fighting because I watch plenty of them whenever they're out of season, and I don't get to see them because I only get to see them from like May to, I think they stuck around to like September last year.
I didn't know you were such a fan, Chrissy. I've learned something new about you.
Listen, I love birds. They're little angry creatures. It's like the epitome of you're cute when you're mad.
Cute aggression.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And that is how they are vicious and adorable.
I mean, if I had a beak that looked like a rapier, I'd probably pick some fights too.
Which was recently established in a group chat as the gayest weapon.
A rapier?
A rapier.
Honestly, yes.
I think that was Q's assertion.
No, that's correct.
Q, you're right.
Yeah, I think you were the one who said that a rapier was the gayest weapon.
Correct. Yeah, absolutely.
I am jealous that I do not get to experience these conversations. God will. How could you? How could you deprive me of this content?
You gotta come to PAX Unplugged.
Yep.
I'm working on it.
I know.
Blood in, blood out.
We are live, in case anyone wasn't aware.
Oh no. I watched that happen.
Oh. Did you not know, Chrissy? Yikes.
I wanted to get some of that hummingbird conversation out there for the audience.
And so now it is preserved forever.
That is incredible.
I don't know what to tell you. There's a little window. There's a little preview window that
I thought I was looking up the YouTube for hummingbirds.
That's fair. We do love fun facts here.
Do not perceive me.
You come for the fun facts, stay for the stream.
Listen,
Fantastic.
we didn't have Raph and we didn't have Julia. Chrissy, you stepped into their shoes admirably.
You did.
No, I could never compare. Like, those are too big of shoes and my feet are too small. Could not, but I'll do my best. Ugh.
I mean, nobody does Unhinged like Julia.
That is true.
Okay, well.
We learned something new, and that is the most important thing, Chrissy.
I will happily talk about the local birds all day. It's the most interesting thing about me right now. I don't know what that says about me.
I feel like that's not true. I feel like that's
I was
not
going
correct.
to say,
I
that
also
does
feel
not
like that's
sound
not
right.
I'm so sorry.
I don't know what you mean.
Oh, okay. Okay, listen, we're Twitter friends now. we're friends on Twitter. That's not true.
Shit. I forgot how public my entire life is.
Uh-huh.
Okay, all right, well. Can you
One of you save her.
Please?
This is JD's game. I'm just here.
Listen, I'm just letting the suffering commence. But we can start suffering in character as well. We can move right into that. So, hi, we are live from the apocalypse. We like to start our streams with strange rants and fun facts, and you have gotten to experience some of that tonight. I'm just going to let you know this is like a fraction of how unhinged things got in the green room before we went live. So, just imagine what that experience is. It's a time. Anyways, we are a not-for-profit TTRPG studio that raises money for aid organizations and good causes. Currently, we are raising money for Doctors Without Borders to support the important work that they are doing in multiple countries right now where atrocities are being committed. We ask that rather than giving us any of the fake cryptocurrency, bits, subscriptions, anything like that, that any money you would have given to us that way goes directly to Doctors Without Borders, and you can either find the button to do that, where the subscribe button would usually be, or you can type !donate in the chat at any time, and the link will pop up. At that point, Will, in particular, will be distracted by the McElroy brothers yelling. So please pick a moment where Abigail is feeling particularly emotional, and we can just completely throw Will off his game. And Will's going to tell me that Abigail has never experienced
fucking grip it, baby. Slop that down, dude.
I can't think of any examples.
Crack one for the big boy.
Thank you for your donation, kind stranger.
I know. I wonder who this lovely person was who just donated.
I don't know. Never heard of them.
Mm-mm.
It says
Sorry,
it right there.
I just had to show everybody else how it was done tonight in case they forgot.
For sure.
We appreciate it.
No, we appreciate it.
So, Will, JD, I know you're new to this. It actually says it in the Twitch, like the chat section, so you can see.
Yeah, but I don't know who this person is.
Yeah,
like I see the name, but like
it's someone. We appreciate them.
Interesting. Okay, sure.
I clearly am not able to read. It's fine.
We don't want to put anyone on the spot. You know how it is.
Exactly.
I don't have my glasses on.
All right, then.
Neither
They don't
do
want
I.
to be perceived.
Yeah, I can't read it because Chrissy doesn't have her glasses on. So
But you know, bad eyesight is contagious, even through a computer screen.
exactly.
Even with Will wearing glasses.
These are
Right.
my glasses, though, not Chrissy's.
Right,
You know,
exactly. No, hold
Our
on, let me
glasses
see.
kind of look similar. I don't want to put mine on because it's too hard with these, but they look similar.
Mm-hmm.
You know what's really funny? I put my glasses over these, and that actually made me see better, and that's real
Yeah.
fucked up. That was real fucked up.
You learn
Getting
something
old.
new, Q.
Yeah, I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to talk about it.
Now that we have all gotten thrown off, we can see now what happens when that alert goes off and all of us manage to get distracted. We did not all yell in solidarity, but we can also do that in the future. I think
That's what'll
Please
happen if
do
you
that
donate. So
in fact, just scream randomly. Like, it doesn't need to be in response to that.
I might kick it off, which will not be as cute, but
I think that's most of the housekeeping. I think the last thing I just have to remind you, you can find the subscribe button. Will has done his best to hide it. He has tried so hard, and we appreciate him so much for that. If you have like an Amazon Prime sub, you can throw it our way. Just know that if you do, beloved Dimension 20 Dungeon Master Brennan Lee Mulligan will kill one dog for every month you have been subscribed. Recently, that was 78 dogs. 78 dogs. Will contributed to that number.
Will.
You contributed to that number.
I'm doing my part.
Didn't you? Okay, Q's innocent. Will did his part. Remember that as tonight's episode goes on. Anyways, I think it's time to say hello to the cast. This is a third season of Secrets and Shadows. We are with Table 1 / the Friday table. There's been a lot of fighting over who Table 1 is this time around. This group insisted is them. Saturday insisted is them because they started first. You know what? At some point, we're going to do a battle royale, all 8 players, all here at once. I'm working on it. It's going to be the finale.
Please let me fight Wrath.
Raph might not be alive by that point.
I'll fight him anyway.
You know, I respect that. We will have to bring. Well, wait. Do you want to fight Raph, or does
Let
Abigail
me
want to?
fight Raph.
Okay, I just needed to clarify.
Not
Got it.
Abigail fight Carmen. Let me fight Raph.
I mean, again, you don't need to do that on a stream. You can just do it.
I was gonna say we can make that happen. Will we can
Well,
make
they're
that
in the UK
happen
now, but I did say that I was putting together a panel at PAX Unplugged that was just people fighting everyone that they said they were going to fight over the course of the year in streams and TTRPG games.
Oh fuck! I have to be there then.
You do have to be there. You
Yeah.
were one of the. You were on the docket, my guy.
You've been threatened so many times.
You've threatened so many times.
It's just LC. It's fine. They're smaller than I am. I'm not worried.
Fair.
I don't know about that. Elsie's got that unhinged energy of like she's ready to box.
Oh yeah, no. She is absolutely unhinged and feral, and we love that. But with that, before I threaten you more, before we jump in, this is our Regency Monsterhearts game, and I am going to have each of my players introduce themselves, who they are playing, and their character's playbook, which I should probably have up, so I am going to do that while we are going through, starting with Will.
It's me first. Tonight, Amber's not feeling well. Hello. Hi, my name is Will. I'm one of the organizers and the storytellers here live from the apocalypse. You can find me on the internet at @AWillMScream pretty much everywhere. I don't know why I said my handle. I don't normally do that at this point. I'm playing Abigail Donatelli, Miss Abigail Donatelli, if you nasty. And she's the devil playbook. So, real normal one out here.
So normal. Nothing bad happening. It's been a chill time.
It's been.
It's been.
Oh. And Chrissy, you're up next. Before we get our stream silenced for accidental copyright infringement.
Hi, I'm Chrissy. I am playing Morgan. She is the ghost playbook. I don't know. I don't have anything else to say right now. Hi, Chrissy. Yeah.
And Chrissy is our new addition for this season, and we are delighted to have them here.
We sure are.
Last but certainly not least, Q.
Hello. Hi, I'm Q. Tonight I'm playing Mr. Dorian Black. He is the Angel playbook. Though, if that's what he really is, who knows? It's a season of discovery, I think.
That sounded ominous, and I'm saying that is the storyteller.
You can take that however you wish.
You're gonna make it happen, aren't you, Will? I'm not going to escape it. Making me introduce myself in the midst of this.
Not if you don't want to.
See, for this stream, Will gets control over everything. Usually I have control of tech, but he is great.
We can move on if you want.
No, I'll do it.
I was just waiting to press it when you tried to move on.
I figured. I did not think it would be that easy. Hi, I am JD. I can be found on the internet at JD Not Jason Dean. I'm the storyteller for this game. And I will be playing everyone else, which in the case of this game essentially means which stolen car the characters decide to grab this go round.
What does that mean?
That's how the book describes it. It describes the NPCs like they're stolen cars. You just let the player characters choose which one they want to drive, and when they abandon it, it's fine. You forget that NPC exists.
Hot?
is I right. I
Hot? Question mark.
What's the Subaru? Because I think that's what that's my vibe.
Just
Rhea
Seneschal.
Ripley. Yeah.
Which one?
Seneschal.
There's three. Well, I mean, there's one seneschal. There's two former seneschals.
You know which one is a Subaru.
Correct. You know exactly.
I do. It's true.
They've got the short nails going on too, I bet.
Oh, for sure.
Oh, absolutely.
Don't give me that fucking ball,
Mm.
Incredible timing.
Oh, fantastic.
I don't know if you can hear him, but he keeps trying. Like, he wants me to play tug of war with him. But
Can't hear him, but we sure heard you.
This is going to be an experience tonight that we are all going to have together.
Sorry.
Clearly, we need Amber here to keep us on track.
Which is wild.
Which is wild.
I don't actually think that would be the outcome. I think it would just get more chaotic and unhinged.
I think you're right. It's this damn curse. We're all out of practice.
It's also been this week. It has 100% been this week. We have never had as chaotic an episode of Thy Kingdom Come as we did on Monday.
Which is impressive.
The fact that we all almost became dogs was like an incidental plot point. So that's where we are with LFTA this week. Anyways, we're going to do a major vibe shift here.
Yeah, ready.
All right. So we're going to be jumping in at some undefined point in the past. We pan through the halls of the Donatelli townhouse, past the art adorning the walls, the lack of representation of family members in any of that art, the impersonal quality of the choice in decorations. And we move quickly into the library with its multiple levels of books, some only reachable by ladder, and the large marble fireplace that is lit, casting a glow throughout the room which would not be classified as warm. We see two figures sitting in chairs opposite of one another, drinks of a dark amber liquid in hand, and they are both gazing contemplatively at the flickering flames. The figure with the red hair and silvery eyes, a priest collar at his throat, asks, "What do we do about the girl?" The one named after the Phantom Queen, the other man, a man with dark spectacles that hide his eyes, one Abraham Donatelli, inquires. That is the question, isn't it? She doesn't know, does she? Father Ashley Donovan asks, and Abraham shakes his head. No, of course she doesn't. How could she? Do you think she would intervene if she knew? Abraham takes a contemplative sip of his drink. Perhaps. I could not predict what she would or would not do. Which is why you're not telling her. And Abraham nods in response to Ashley's words, and Father Ashley gives a low chuckle. She'll be angry with you. Abraham pulls out a cigarette case, retrieves one, and then snaps his fingers, igniting a burst of flame and holding it to the tip of the cigarette as he draws the smoke into his lungs. He exhales the smoke slowly, methodically, and more than seems possible, more than he could have inhaled, spills from his lips. He takes another drag, repeats the process, and then, and only then, says, Abigail has more than enough to be angry with me for. What is one more sin for me to commit? What is one more way for me to disappoint her? Then you've made your decision? Father Ashley asks as they lean over to accept an offered cigarette from the case, then lights a cigarette off of Abraham's own. And the two sit in what could almost be considered companionable silence before Abraham sighs. I have, and we're already past the point of no return. Are we? Father Ashley inquires. That does not sound like you, Abraham. You decide when and where the pieces start to fall. Dorian has his orders. That's enough to know where the rest of the pieces will fall. Abraham brings the cigarette to his lips, and the embers reflect in the dark glass covering his eyes. Besides, the pieces fall where I expect. No one will know this ever happened. There will be no sins to forgive. And Father Ashley laughs and says, well, if there are, you can always come to confession. And we leave the two of them sitting there. We return to present day, some point in the future, where there has been tense conversation in this house and a lot happening back to back to back because Dorian just made his return, appearing on the palace grounds in a flash of light, only to be found by the seneschal and subsequently by his fiancée.
Hmm?
Meanwhile, Morrigan showed up at what is meant to be, well, a sanctuary of sorts, a place called Salvation. The home that Dorian and Astrid have been building. And some tense conversations followed once everyone was there. Some deals, question mark, were made. And Astrid has just removed themselves from the home, running out the back door and disappearing. What would you all like to do?
Well, I would like to come back into the house. Well, you may have to excuse me. My fiance has run off. And I don't know where she's run off to. So I'm going to figure that out.
Yeah, Probably overstayed my welcome. It
No,
was.
you're welcome to stay.
Thank you.
Of course.
Are you so certain Astrid wants you to know?
Maybe, maybe not. But I'd be a shit fiance if I didn't at least try. And as you mentioned, I'd ruined one relationship. Don't need to make it a second.
Well, it's admirable how much you've learned about being a good fiance these past few months.
Right. So I'm gonna go and do a search, I suppose.
An
Dorian.
admirable pursuit.
It's certainly something. And I'm gonna head out.
Dorian, as you are making your way out to go find Astrid, you hear Rem's voice. And they say, "There's something about that girl."
Maureen? What about her?
There is a thread that connects you to her.
Yeah, I was wondering about that. She looks familiar, and yet I can't place her name anywhere in my mind. Well, I've decided right this moment I'm not going to think about that too hard. I've only just gotten back, and apparently I've been gone for like a month and a half. Got some catching up to do, and I do still need to find my fiance. So I want you to hold
You
on to
do.
that for me, Rem.
I merely worry, Dorian, that never mind what I worry about.
You know when you say never mind, when you said that you worry, that makes me worry more. Yeah, like you get that, right? Okay, so we will table that for another time.
I will be mindful of using the words never mind.
Specifically with the context of you having a worry about something, if you would.
I am not sure what else I would say that about.
Hmm. I'm sure if it comes up, I'll tell you.
I'm sure you will.
Mhm. So I think as he steps out, uh, onto the front steps, I think the wings will come out again. We're gonna see if we can't get an aerial view of the city and maybe try and triangulate her location if Astrid is even on the plane, because I did see her go through a portal. So, so
You absolutely did see that. That
yep,
is very true.
yep. So we'll see.
And I'm not going to make you roll for that cue because you are in the air. You do have a clear view. It is a little difficult because your attention goes kind of all over the place. And sometimes that is because there are that many things to be distracted. Some because Rem is the one being distracted and does once or twice or thrice say, look over there and direct your gaze, and you do not see Astrid. You instead see a place where the veil has gotten thin and something else is peeking through. And you see that still all over the city. Some of them flicker in and out, some of them stay for a bit longer. But it is not fully resolved yet.
Mm-hmm.
It is like places are constantly lighting up, and that initially makes it hard to know if you're getting a clear view to a point where you could find Astrid. But you don't see them. And you know that your eyes are drawn naturally to where they are. And there is nowhere where that is happening.
I think the Dorian will drift down slowly. The wings will sort of fold in and then disappear. And I think he will head back inside. He trusts them to come back in their own time. Hopefully that will be tonight. But he won't be sleeping until it happens, so not sure he needs to sleep at this point, so who's to say?
And we might be in David Lynch's 24 slash Pride and Prejudice. Who knows?
Lynch, leave me be. Let me go.
Well, Dorian is out. What do Morrigan and Abigail do?
I have a question. And this might be a last season question. You might have to remind me. Is it common knowledge that there's a new seneschal?
It is definitely a this season question.
Okay.
It was something that you had started hearing whispered about in the last few days. You, of course, knew that Damien had stepped down at the end of last season. There had not been a replacement for a brief window of time. That spot was empty. There was talk that Julius and to a much lesser extent, Damien, were still there for consultation. But you started to hear about a week ago that a new seneschal was arriving.
Okay. Then I think with that in mind, Abigail will, once Dorian leaves, Abigail will roll her eyes. We'll say, he's always had a flair for the dramatic. The wings have just made it worse. I think you're muted, Chrissy. I can't hear you.
No, how? I guess my current state isn't so unusual amongst all of you. Do you think
Not
they'll be
so
okay?
unusual. I think they are extremely capable. If there is one thing that Lady Astrid Primer is good at, it is surviving.
Well, very admirable of her. But I more meant the lovers' quarrel.
Oh.
Is that common?
We lead complicated lives. Truthfully, his relationship is young. I think it remains to be seen if secrets will be their undoing.
Understandable.
I have some business to attend to elsewhere, but you would be welcome to accompany me if you want. And maybe we might find some answers to your questions as well.
Yes, that would be nice. I should let my brother know that I'm okay. He might worry, although he doesn't realize that there's no reason to worry, because I guess the worst thing that could happen already has.
Your brother.
Yes. He didn't remember me either, but was kind enough to take me in anyway. Maddox.
Does that name mean anything to me?
Nope.
Okay.
Nope.
And that was kind. I will wait here until you have said your goodbyes.
I mean, I'm sure I can get word to him. It's fine. No need to delay.
We aren't going far. And this may not take long.
Well, if it does, then I'll find a way to get word to him, but...
And JD...
Yeah, what's up, Will?
I would like to go to the Seneschal's chambers, but not go outside.
Interesting.
On the assumption that Damien is still serving in an advisory capacity, and that's probably the easiest way to find him.
Okay. So I think that then begs the question, since you have seen the Seneschal's chambers.
Mhm.
Are you aiming to go directly there? Or are you aiming to find Damien?
I mean, if I can be that specific about it, I will, but I wasn't sure. I was worried that would be pushing the, like, step into one door, walk out of another door thing.
I think in this case, if your intention is to find Damien,
It is.
I'm debating if I'm gonna roll for this or let you do this.
I mean, to be clear, Abigail's intention is to find Damien. If Abigail tries to find Damien and finds the new Seneschal by accident, Will's not going to be mad about it.
We are on the same page. All right. That is fair. And so remind me, Will, is that a move or just one of those fun things we said that Abigail can do?
It's just one of those fun things that I've been doing.
All right. So let's say highs, you find Damien, lows, you find Nyx. That's 2.
Well then. Shame.
All right. And so
So I think Abigail would take Morgan's hand and lead Morgan to the nearest door and step through it.
I suppose this is a later discussion.
It's fairly self-explanatory, I would think. I'm a devil.
You say that so nonchalantly.
I thought there was a note of pride, but nonchalantly would not be inaccurate.
That explains a lot about your frankness about telling me I'm dead.
do you always enter someone else's quarters so rudely? And you turn and the Seneschal Nyx, she is sitting at a large desk, though she is turned away from it and just kind of leaning back, has her head cocked to the side, and is studying the two of you.
On the contrary, some chambers I have entered far more rudely. I don't think we've been introduced.
I dare say we have not. To who do I owe the pleasure?
I am Abigail. Abigail Donatelli.
Ah,
Morgan, don't be rude, dear.
I'm sorry. I honestly forgot I was here. Morgan Fairbrook.
I would say a pleasure to meet you both. I do generally prefer that people knock if they have business. Is this business?
I will make a note of that for the next time I have business in your chambers. But yes, the nature of this visit is business. In truth, I was seeking your predecessor, but given that these are your quarters, I assume I have the privilege of addressing the new seneschal, who I will note has not yet introduced herself.
Yes, well, a name is a particular gift to give, and you do know my title. Which predecessor were you looking for?
Damien Deloso.
And what business do you have with him?
So I'll ask him a favor. And to make an introduction for my friend here.
It's intriguing, Miss Donatelli. I suppose I only have some of the pieces of the larger picture, though I am very good at filling in the blanks and reading the line. In truth, I have a hard time imagining that Damien Deloso would owe you any favors.
You would be surprised at the list of people who owe me favors.
And I will be mindful to ensure that my name is not added amongst them.
I'm afraid that I would need to know what to call you first. After all, titles must be earned.
You have a way with words, Miss Donatelli. And I do not believe, speaking of earning things, that you have earned the right to my name.
As seneschal, it's my understanding that you serve the realm.
As seneschal, indeed I do.
Well then, if you refuse to serve me, I can only assume that it's because you are terrified that I could be everything which is such a shame. To let fear stand in your way. I assure you, I'm not so scary. Once you get to know me.
Well, I would like you to roll to turn someone on, but I would like you to roll it twice and take the lower rolls.
Mm-hmm. Fair enough. Let's see what we got here. Not too worried. Excuse me. Turn someone on is with hot. I rolled a 9, and then I rolled an 8.
I mean, that tracks. That tracks.
So they can either give me a string or choose one of the reactions.
I think they're going to give you a string.
Hell, fucking yeah, they are.
And I think that is shown in the fact that she takes a moment and studies you. And what you have said has had an effect on her, though not necessarily the effect you may be intended for it to have. Because as she takes the measure of you, she smirks. Miss Donatelli, you are so very young and inexperienced. Believe me when I say that I have seen many things much more frightening than you.
Abigail will take a step towards Nyx and will say, very well. Then I accept.
Accept what, Miss Donatelli?
Your generous offer. Teach me what I don't know, Seneschal.
I believe that could be a benefit to both of us, Miss Donatelli. And then immediately looks over at Morgan and says, my apologies.
Oh no, don't let me interrupt. Should I glide out and leave you two alone?
I do not think that is necessary.
Absolutely not. There's no rush.
What a lovely day!
Welcome, Raiders.
What's up, Raiders?
What's up, Raiders?
You're coming in at a time.
You sure are. We're having very normal, non-horny moments in our Regency Monsterhearts game.
I mean, that's what the game's known for.
So true.
its whole purpose.
Lie to these good people like that.
I'm
We
sorry.
can't lie to God. You killed him.
I mean,
Yeah,
sorry about it.
that's on you.
You right, my bad.
There is absolutely no rush. I'm a quick learner.
And I am an excellent teacher. We'll see how many lessons you require.
We'll see how long I'd like for this to take.
We'll see if you can keep up the pace.
We'll see.
We shall, but you are here on business, and given that you were looking for Damien, I somehow doubt that this was the business.
It's true. I saw it the seneschal. So, I suppose you'll meet that requirement adequately. Morgan is facing some challenges of identity.
That's a polite way to put it.
How would you put it, Morgan?
I am corporeally challenged.
You are a spirit?
I'd assume so. I don't know. This is fresh information for me, too.
And how did you and Miss Donatelli become acquainted?
I just stumbled in to their home.
We bumped into each other. It's my belief that Morgan was murdered. And that certainly feels like seneschal business.
I do not intend for this to sound callous, though. When you encounter death as often as I have, suppose one becomes a bit desensitized. Murder is not an uncommon occurrence.
Is the people sticking around after the case a common occurrence?
It depends. For many, yes. Most often, when spirits are here, when they do not, well, get on the ferry, so to speak, that is because there is some sort of unfinished business. And a violent death can certainly lead to that.
What do I need to do to get on the boat? Clearly don't belong here. Nobody even remembers me. You know
This
what
is of
that's like?
this is of course where the callousness of experience shows itself. What is one death among the thousands that have crossed your path, Seneschal? What would make this one dead girl matter enough for you to care?
Her eyes have gone to you, Abigail, but she doesn't answer you. She looks back at Morgan. What do you mean no one remembers you?
My own parents didn't recognize me. Don't even remember having a daughter. It's like I never existed. Maybe I didn't.
Well, Miss Donatelli, you asked what would make one dead girl matter to me. That certainly raises many, many questions. Because you clearly do exist, Morgan. I see you right here.
Maybe now. What if I don't know. And I shouldn't be here regardless.
You asked earlier, what would it take for you to be on that ferry? And I want to ask you, do you want to be on that ferry?
Don't know. If the destination were happier than my current existence, maybe. My life was full of light and joy, but an existence where you don't have a family or anyone that knows anything about you is a whole different story. I don't even know how I remember my own name.
Yet you do. And that is a piece of who you are. Does the name fit? Does it feel right when you hear it?
Yes. Like a bell pealing. But I don't, at this point, I don't think whether or not I eventually go on the ferry is optional. I don't think it's safe or ideal for me to exist like this in perpetuity.
You would be correct in saying that existence as a spirit is not sustainable long term, but what that looks like varies. And if you say you are not ready, that will be. And she pauses, and it's a long pause before she acknowledges, I would like to say that would be respected, but it will be taken into consideration.
I'm not ready now. This shouldn't have happened to me. People responsible for it need to be held accountable for that.
Hopefully, this question will not come across as indelicate, but how do you know you were murdered?
That's when Morgan will glance over to Abigail. That's a good question.
The peaceful dead do not become spirits. I have seen some things. I have seen some things, right?
You have.
Cool. Yep. And around her throat. Other flashes, but not the identity.
And Miss Donatelli, I know that you and Morgan had said you bumped into each other. She happened to stumble into where you reside. What has you invested in the outcome? What has you wanting to solve this mystery?
I can only assume, Seneschal, by your reaction when I told you my name, that you know who I am. That you've heard something, some things about me.
I have.
Then your intel is worthless if you don't know that when it comes to my friends, I would do anything for them.
Well, based on my intel, Abigail, that would depend on which friend you saw as the highest priority at any given time.
Are you implying that there is a conflict of interests?
For myself or for you?
I don't know, Seneschal. Are we friends?
I would not call us that. No, as we have established, I am the teacher and you are the student.
And as I established, titles must be earned.
So
Teach
you
me.
want to earn the title of student?
Teach me something that I don't already know. And then we'll see. I would say that that is the difference between you and I, Seneschal. We have both spent time in hell. But for my part, I only get down on my knees and pray to people who deserve it. Whereas you, well, you wear a collar.
Oh, Miss Donatelli. Miss Donatelli. I look forward to the moment that you welcome the opportunity to be down on your knees in front of me and begging.
Be careful, Seneschal. You, of all people, should know how risky it is to tell a devil what it is you really want.
Which is why we are sticking to titles, Miss Donatelli. I also feel that we are getting off track. I know that this is certainly not what you meant when you brought up me teaching you something you do not already know. But I may have an answer to a piece of this puzzle. Morgan, you said that no one remembers you, not your family, not your friends, that you're missing pieces of memory.
Yes. Can you stop? Um, I certainly don't remember dying. Everything, I remember big picture. Details are starting to escape me.
There aren't many ways for that completeness, that complexity of memory to be affected. And that's not typical, as I have no doubt Miss Donatelli knows. It would not be uncommon for a spirit to not remember the moment of death, with it being something that is so traumatic. But to have other people not remember you, I can only think of one way that could happen. And I do not like that because the implication of that upsets the balance. Forgive me if that was also too callous.
No, it's fine. I understand. My death itself is not unusual and not enough to upset the balance.
You have appropriately corrected me there, Morgan. Any death does upset the balance, particularly one that is violent. You are right that those who took those actions deserve to be held accountable. I do not like the idea that one of the most dangerous weapons that I know of has apparently made its way into this realm.
And what weapon might that be?
It never should have been created. It's a dagger that was dipped in the waters of Lethe.
I saw a dagger, right? Yeah. I saw a knife.
Well, you both certainly have my attention.
I do have that effect on people.
Put the ego away before you hurt somebody.
Darling, where do you think these horns came from?
Are you done, Miss Donatelli?
So a dagger that does not just kill you, it erases you entirely.
Correct.
Terrifying.
Oh. I'm sorry, that was above table.
Yes, Miss Donatelli, I would imagine that to you, the idea of being erased from existence and memory would be terrifying.
Some days. Some days it might be nice to rest. There's a certain peace and anonymity, isn't there?
You know, I can't say there is.
Fair enough.
If you would like to trade places, though.
On that topic, as to the reasons why you would not want to trade places with me, I would like a word with the Seneschal alone, if you don't mind, Morrigan.
Absolutely. She will walk through the door. Kind of in a huff about it.
I just need to ask, literally through the door?
Mhm.
I can't say that I fault her for doing that, though your entrances and exits need work.
I've never received any complaints about my entrances before.
Is that what we are here for, Miss Donatelli?
Nothing so fun, I'm afraid. I have friends meant to inquire with the Regency about the whereabouts of my father. But I know better than most that not all seneschals share their resources or their information as freely as others.
Miss Donatelli, speaking of resources, the devil of your standing does not seem like they would be lacking in those. And so I am curious where those have gone dry.
You don't have to flatter me, seneschal. Devil of my standing, I am an upstart. I am young and reckless and impertinent, with no respect for the higher orders. I know the things that are said about me. I wear them proudly, to be frank. But that does mean that my resources are not as expansive as they might be in different circumstances. And that when you weigh my name against older, far more established names, people who might otherwise give information freely get scared.
And so your attempts at bargaining have failed.
Not at all. I have made many bargains. I think she sounds more than a little bitter when she says that.
I think that's why Nyx's response is, and what has that cost you?
Are you concerned for my well-being, Seneschal?
You wear that mask well, Abigail, but you also let it slip. And you talked about that idea of anonymity. That runs in direct contradiction to everything you are.
There are masks under my mask, Seneschal. Didn't Damien warn you?
He did.
So what makes you so sure that you've seen through all of them, that you've seen the real Abigail? And not just exactly what I want you to see.
Oh, Miss Donatelli, you jump to conclusions far too quickly yourself. I would be a fool to believe that in this brief window I have seen the real you, because I do not think you even know what that would mean or who that person is.
Too much. It has cost me too much. Not everything. Not yet. Too much.
And would you be willing to give everything to get your father back?
Are you asking for everything?
No, Abigail. I might be callous, but I'm not cruel. Would you give me everything if I asked?
How can I give you everything, Seneschal? When I don't even know who I am?
That wasn't the answer I was hoping for, Abigail. I was hoping you would say that you deserve to keep some peace for yourself. Because if you don't even know what is underneath all of those layers, how will you know how much more you have to give?
Well, I'm sure you are very accustomed to hearing exactly what you want to hear. A little disappointment enriches the soul. So they say.
Disappointment is not for myself, but for you, Miss Donatelli. But as we were, your father, I've told you I do not make deals. I doubt you have any interest in laying even a few of your cards on the table. But it could be helpful to know what information you do have.
It would require a degree of trust between us. And how can I trust that I know you in such a short exchange, as you said earlier?
Well, that would require a degree of trust on both sides. As you are asking me for information that those denizens of hell have been refusing to grant you.
Would you trust the devil, Seneschal?
I would never trust anyone who believes that they could make me kneel.
Then you're in luck. Because I have no interest in making you kneel. In point of fact, I'm far more interested in seeing if you can, in fact, put me on my knees. Because on the day that you manage, to do that, Seneschal, I will be so very pleased with you.
Oh, Miss Donatelli, you greatly misunderstand what those roles would look like. Because I would be the one calling you a good girl.
You are so plain spoken, Seneschal. Have you no shame?
Miss Donatelli, I'm just meeting you where you are at.
Then again, I think the only thing that I can say is that your intel must be flawed or lacking. Because any of my close personal friends will be more than happy to tell you what a good girl I can be. You're muted.
An intriguing statement, Miss Donatelli. Because here I thought you were going to tell me that your friends would say that you have no shame.
Without shame, Seneschal, we might as well be in church. Without shame, where's the fun?
So that is what you enjoy, Miss Donatelli. I'll remember that when I have you on your knees.
You keep coming back to that one very visceral image.
You brought up church, and I thought about praying.
In point of fact, I have no issues praying. But I will say that this image is hard for me to summon based on talk alone. That is. I would like your help. If you tell me what it will cost.
I do not know that you would be willing to pay the cost that I would ask, Miss Donatelli. Because my cost would be that if I help you, I get you the information you require that will get you to your father. I ask that you give no more pieces of yourself away.
So that's what you enjoy. That's your angle. You want to save me.
No, I don't, Abigail, because I know exactly what happened to the last person who thought he could do that. No, if you are putting that trust into me, I would ask that you actually show you mean it, that you believe I will follow through. And if that is the case, what need do you have of making more deals with others? If that is saving you, I suppose we'll see, but as Donatelli, I am experienced enough to know that one can only save themselves. And I am not enough of a fool to dive into the ocean to pull you out if you're going to pull us both down together.
You ask for my trust without even telling me your name.
I will grant you a piece of myself. You can call me Nyx.
Speak again soon, Nyx. I have pressing business. I will think about what you have said.
I respect that. Next time, please use the door.
My dear Seneschal, I did.
Reminding me that I will always need to be more specific with my orders.
Obedience necessitates good instruction.
I look forward to our next meeting, Abigail.
Abigail will move to the door that Morgan left through, but she'll stop before she walks through, and without turning around, she'll hesitate before she says, I won't put on the collar. Not for you. Not for anyone.
Now that, Abigail, is knowing yourself. and I will respect that.
Abigail will walk out the door.
And as Abigail steps through, leaving Nyx in the Seneschal's quarters, I think that is where we are going to take an admittedly late break.
Raph is going to be livid.
I'm so excited.
I cannot wait.
Oh, it's
We're
giving
gonna have
me
to speed him
life.
tomorrow.
I can't wait. Everybody, refresh your beverages. This was very, very thirsty. Don't go away. We'll be back in like 10 minutes. See you real soon.
No, I'll take that one. I'm definitely gonna make sure that I know all the words for Benny and the Jets because it's one of my favorite Elton John songs. Period.
Watch Nephilim Tenebris.
Correct.
That was directed to the audience.
It's a goodie. And probably no. Okay, so one is not sad. It's Killing Me Softly. I could do that one.
Banger.
Mm-hmm.
Truly.
All bangers, but
pretty pleased with that.
I can do Paradise by the Dashboard Light. You want to jam out with me to that?
I mean, sure.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So what I'm hearing is karaoke night in our future.
Yes. I think
come to
that's what
PAX
we're saying.
Unplugged. That's where we do karaoke. Come to PAX Unplugged.
All right, we are going to dive back in, and we are going to actually return to Dorian. And so, Dorian, you were out looking for Astrid, not able to find them.
Yep.
You had then returned to Salvation.
That was the plan, yes.
You return, and the house is empty.
Well, I've determined I don't like that. I think Dorian will sort of walk through the house, get reacquainted with it. Not that he was really gone that long for him, but I think the realization that he has been gone means that there are things that could have changed, things that could be different now. And I think more than anything, he needs to center himself. So I think since for the first time since he's been back, he's going to take off the jacket, going to unbutton, the shirt a bit. He is actually settling into being home.
What is it like for Dorian as he moves through the house and sees the life that Astrid has been building in preparation for your return?
I think he's feeling a number of things simultaneously. There's joy, seeing that she was keeping the plate spinning on the house, setting things up to be a welcome for him, to make it the home that he envisioned. I think he sees the potential future of them, perhaps with a family, perhaps with them just being together, sitting in the study, each with a book, seeing little ones running around, perhaps. There's also a frustration that he wasn't there for any of this. And while he promised to come back and made good on that promise, he's frustrated that he had to do so in the first place.
Dorian, a lot has happened in a short amount of time, an incredibly short amount of time. It seems like you just escaped heaven because for you, you did. I am curious, in light of the fact, in light of his original partnership with Rem, the experiences the two of them had in heaven, the escape, the return, Abigail's pointed comments during that reunion. How does Dorian feel about this current state that he's in, having been an infernal, having been an angel, now perhaps something new?
Confused, curious. I think he is intrigued to find out what he would even be classified as. Though there's also that small voice in his head that sounds a bit like Astrid. That is, why does it matter? Isn't being Dorian enough? But I think there is also that question that follows that, which is, what is Dorian? For too long, practically his whole life, he has been a tool, an instrument for someone else's works. Back in the Americas, here with Abraham, and then with the Church of the Sun. Even when he thought that he had made a choice for his own self, he still was drawn into things for the desires of another entity. So, being Dorian doesn't know what that actually means.
How long is Dorian able to sit with those thoughts?
Oh, not long at all. No, absolutely not. Like, I think he sits down, and then immediately realizes that all of those thoughts are hitting like one after the other. And so he gets up, continues to move about the place. I know it's late, but he will write letters, send messages to those that he has left in charge of his business. And he will just wander, finding something, anything to do.
I think there does come a point where Rem can't help themselves and just says, "You seem determined to keep yourself busy."
I just got back. Got to make sure that the place is nice, especially because my fiance run off, and I would like to make sure that when they get back, this place is spotless and I have all of my affairs in order. No other reason.
Is that what you're telling yourself?
Oh no, Rem, you tell me.
Your silence spoke volumes.
Silence can't speak, it's silence. It doesn't say anything.
We are back.
Mm-hmm.
What does that mean for us?
I don't know. Because you're not in here anymore. Or in here. And he manifests the sword. You're in here. But I still have all of this. We don't have the same goal that we did. And, well, I separated myself from the other entities that were giving me things to do. So, I'm in a bit of a spin right now, Rem. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. I don't even know who I am, what I am.
Have you ever asked Astrid what they see when they look at you? Have you ever let her reflect what she sees back?
No,
Why?
up until recently, I had a pretty solid idea of who I was, what I was. And thinking on it now, I'm still not sure that I would want to. It still feels a little bit like someone dictating me to and for me.
I can understand that. I was seeing it as a reflection, but I suppose that with people, that will always be filtered through what they see.
Right.
That's different than a piece of glass.
True. Well, and don't take this the wrong way. You've been inside me.
I
What do you
have.
see? What do you see?
I see someone who has had a hard time seeing their own capacity for kindness. I think about when we met and how one of your biggest concerns after I told you who I was and we talked about the type of partnership that we could have was what would happen to my current host. That was one of the first things you focused on. And it was one of the things that stayed with me.
Thought it was a reasonable question.
Not everyone would. Not everyone would think of that. Not everyone would care. Some people would just want the opportunity to have the power, the ability. That would be not consistent with my goals either. But that wasn't you. I still want to ask though. You wouldn't let Astrid reflect back what she sees. What makes you trust what I perceive?
Well, you're in a sword for one. And, well, we were intertwined, you and I. We stood before God and made it out. For better or for worse, I suppose. I know your filters. And it's not that I wouldn't want to hear what Astrid has to say. But I'm maybe I'm afraid of not living up to what she sees.
And so, if you don't know, that fear of somehow failing her is lessened.
Yeah, pretty much.
Orion, earlier I commented on how busy you keep yourself. You had a very reasonable answer. But it strikes me that that's been the case the entire time we've known each other. That our partnership was predicated on returning those who had escaped hell back to hell. That any time not spent doing that was spent with Astrid. I do not know that there has been a time I have ever seen you slow down. And so, how do you expect to know who you are if you never give yourself the space to find out?
I mean, if you can tell the world to chill out for like 5 seconds, maybe I could take that time. But you were helping to return folks back to where they belonged. I was trying to do the same, just from the opposite angle. Trying to find my friend's sister and her accomplice. And then I was with Astrid after being separated for months. And then we were taken up to heaven.
And then you stabbed God.
I did. Yeah, how'd you feel about that?
It was complicated.
Fair. But to be fair, he was being an asshole. Like a supreme one.
You are not incorrect.
That felt like a lot to say, wasn't it? Yeah, I get it. Well, when we first made our agreement to have our partnership, you mentioned having choice, autonomy. That was taken away from both of us. And then he tried to weave a story of giving you a chance, of redemption for yourself. But in order to be redeemed, you have to have done something wrong. So, fuck him. I'd do it again and again for you.
For me or for us?
I said what I said.
I do not know what to do with that, but thank you.
Yeah, I'm not entirely sure myself. So we'll just keep it at this was a wonderful conversation where we both learned a lot about ourselves.
I think you could learn more.
I am certain that I could, but that requires
Slowing down.
sitting. Yeah, right. And there are things to do, probably. I think Dorian will sit down.
And I think Rem will then say, you know, I was pushing you towards this, but this is your choice, Dorian. If you want, go out. If you want us to look for those other two, if you want us to just have a chance for you to spread your wings, we can do any of those things. If you're not ready to do this.
If I don't start now, I never will. I can always find something to do. All right. Self-reflection time. Unless internally, obviously, like unless the devil walks in or a ghost, maybe that'd be great.
I think you've got a bit of time before that
Yeah, I know I
happens.
do. I know. There's that hope, and there's like, shit. Okay, all right, here we go.
Abigail suddenly is like, I must return.
Listen, if you make a wish,
Okay, if I wish, then there's probably a gin somewhere. So, what is what even is self-reflection for a thing who doesn't know what it is?
I mean, I cannot actually. I was going to say I could theoretically have you roll with dark, but you do not
No.
have dark.
Mm-mm.
That is not a stat you have.
It is. I mean, so my mystery other thing roll.
I think so. I
Okay,
think that makes
especially
sense.
because I'm in the middle, so yeah, it makes sense that it would be. Okay, so let's see what we got. Yeah, I want to go ahead and take that point. Thank you so much. So much. Yeah.
Just out of curiosity, what was that roll?
It's not important, actually. It's not even it's not important. Right, because I'm even across the board. K. That was a 6.
Dorian, I'm gonna ask you a question. You're probably not gonna love it, but
No, I'm not. Proceed.
what does Dorian feel the most guilt about?
Mm-mm.
I mean, there's a what's up?
Will,
Can I interject?
yes,
That was a
absolutely.
6.
That was
Yes,
a
it was a
6.
6.
I would like to spend my string on Dorian for Mimon's plaything.
I would love for you to do that. I absolutely support that.
Be gone.
That just makes it a 7, though. I only get to choose the results if that makes it a 10 or up.
Hell yeah.
So you still get to pick. I just made it a
Okay.
7
Okay.
because we're friends.
I'm good. I'm glad you recognized that.
I am curious, Will, because I think this may inform some of where Dorian's thoughts go. What does that feel like when Abigail does that? Or when that is unlocked or released?
I think for Abigail, the strings are almost literal. For her, like she feels these connections that she has to people, specifically when she gets them from people telling them their desires, or when she gives them their desires. I think that creates like a connection that she has, which feels like a string. So I think it honestly just kind of feels like a tugging on the string in like the back of her mind that connects her to Dorian, where she perceives that he's trying to do something and is not going to succeed at it. And she can use her magic to give him just a little nudge to push him over the edge in the right way. In this case, I think that nudge might be like, I think she might visualize with this specific case a specific moment where, like, back when we had our quote unquote fake relationship, where Dorian had a little too much to drink and was dealing with some of the feelings, some of the big feelings that come along with being like an immortal slave to a demon, basically. Um, and Abigail like didn't know what to say, so she just came up behind him and like put her arms around his shoulders. And so I think maybe Dorian feels that ghostly sensation, that memory.
And I think that is what is going to at least light the match of where Dorian's thoughts go. And so feeling that sensation, recognizing it from Abigail, where does his mind go next?
Is the question still, what are my regrets? Good.
It is not.
Okay.
That question is no longer on the table for the moment.
Okay. I think sort of in his own mind, he is standing in just darkness, feeling the arms on him, that familiar presence, that snap of memory. I think he's brought back from the immediate sense of uncertainty. He is anchored when he very well could have been left adrift in his own thoughts. So he thinks on his friends, on his loved ones, Abigail included. He thinks of what has brought him joy when he's done it. Like, what actions that he's taken have fulfilled him in a way that simply following orders could not. He's reminded of some moments with Astrid going into their home, speaking to her father, letting him know what was going to happen. And then asking her for her hand, letting her know that he saw her. It's rude. There was the moment when, even though she did shoot him a lot, being able to rescue Abigail, to get her out, even though she didn't really actually need all of the help, she probably could have made it out all right. Being there. That was good. It's the times when he's used what skills he's learned to actually help people.
And so, Dorian, as you are going through those memories, those moments, the times you made choices for yourself, the people you have felt connected to, in the first few that you go through those moments, it's almost like a flicker in the corner of your eye. You're going back and you could swear there's something right there, right in your peripheral vision, but when you look, you don't see anything. And I think it's at around the moment that you are remembering confronting Astrid's father that you realize that Morrigan is standing there, faded, not looking quite real, but she is there. And she is there as you keep moving forward, as you go through everything up to and including Abigail's rescue, as you think about the home that you and Astrid are building. It's like you're being haunted.
Not looking, but I am going to call out. Morgan?
She doesn't respond. It's like she's an imprint, a reminder.
I'm going to walk backwards. See if it's like a moment where it starts, or if she's just always there going back through my memories.
I think if you stick to the memories that have brought you joy, even if she is not clearly there, there is that flicker.
Ram,
Yes, Dorian?
do you see her?
The girl?
Yes.
Yes.
Rem mentioned a string thread between us, yeah? I'm going to see if I can touch it.
You reach out and in this space, in, we'll say, essentially your mind palace, the fact that Rem is now a separate entity doesn't necessarily matter if you are asking for their assistance. And so you reach out and you don't know what you're doing, you don't know what you're trying to feel for, you don't know where this thread might be. But you feel Rem's hand guide yours. And you touch that thread together. And as you touch that thread, Dorian, the first thing you feel is a sense of dread, is a crushing weight of guilt. And you see an image of the young woman you have been introduced to as Morrigan bleeding out in your arms. You are trying to stop the bleeding. But at some point, you realize all you can give her is the comfort of not being alone in these last moments. My question to you is, did Dorian stay?
Is there someone coming?
You do not know who, but yes.
Then no. I think it was to the very last second. Like that. The moment where he would only have just enough time to get away. But I think in the end, he would not have stayed. He's a stranger in these lands. Can very well be caught with a dead body.
And I'm just gonna ask this, but what, if anything, were your last words to Morgan before you left her?
So sorry. May you find peace in the afterlife.
And that is where the memory for you fades, Dorian, as you see and feel yourself step away. Everything becomes foggy, everything becomes hazy. And whichever memory you had been in when you touched that thread, you are now back in. But Morgan is standing there, covered in blood.
Cool, 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 cool. Really, really enjoying my decision to discover myself. Just so that we're clear. Having a having a wonderful time with this.
I did not realize it would be like this.
You didn't? You didn't have an idea? I was an agent of a devil for years, Ram.
I thought there might be reasons you were staying so busy.
Mm-hmm.
I do not know that I understand this in the way that others do. I am not one of the watchdogs of the underworld. I understand that there is judgment, determination of whether someone is good or bad, whether they deserve heaven or hell. And I do not know how that is quantified. I do not know how actions taken under orders from another would fall. But I also do not believe that refusing to see them takes them away.
I mean, I've already been to both heaven and hell, so the judgment doesn't really matter for me either way. I'm here dealing with I got to deal with the guilt of the now, which is what I was hoping to avoid. God, I didn't kill that girl.
Maybe the fact that she is here right now means something.
Yeah, Almost certainly. Let's add another thing to the list, Ram. We're having a great time.
Dorian, you learned something about yourself, and I am proud of you.
Thank you, Ram. I appreciate that. Now I'm gonna leave this little clusterfuck of a mind palace now, and I'm gonna find me something to do.
I will not try to convince you to do otherwise.
Thank you. You're so kind.
We're going to leave Dorian there for the moment because we are going to circle back to the other two, namely, starting with Morrigan. Because Morrigan, in that intervening time, when Abigail was with Nyx, that lined up with the moment that Dorian touched that thread. And you saw what he saw. Just from the opposite angle. You remembered the moments of your death. You did not remember the moments that came before, but you remembered those moments as the life was leaving your body when Dorian held you and then said those final words.
Cool. Cool. I think when she had originally glided out the door, she would have glided out the house entirely. And something that I had been putting off until she was alone because she wouldn't want to seem like a weakened gazelle at this point. Fun fact about the Ghost Playbook is when their death is brought up, they get the traumatized condition. So that's, I think, as soon as she walked, well, glided, whatever, moved outside, she would have already went to somewhere somewhat secluded and went to put her hand onto a tree. And I think that might have been when that happened. So I think if there were anybody watching, fingers crossed, there hopefully isn't.
You are on the palace grounds, for the record, so
Hiding.
it is
Hiding.
possible that someone could see you, but it is also possible that there are plenty of places to be in
Well,
private.
if somebody does see, they're gonna watch her flicker in and out of existence. And then let out the most primal scream of rage. Like an actual wail whenever she finally comes back. And for someone who can't breathe, it's fascinating that she's managing to hyperventilate. And so I think she spends a little too long spiraling into that. Before she literally swallows what's left of her breath and her screams down and tries to recompose herself.
And I imagine that it is around that point, Abigail, when you would walk out and I imagine hear some of those sounds of distress, hear that primal scream, and follow it to its source. There are definitely some gardeners, some servants who have definitely heard this. But if they were to see you making like a direct walk in that direction, would just say that that is none of their business and they are not going to deal with that.
Abigail will give all of them a look like she could set them on fire.
Absolute wide berth. Yeah.
And I think she's going to give Morgan the dignity of privacy as she approaches. And she's going to approach Morgan and she's going to say, there you are.
Am I?
I can see you.
How novel. I have a question. As a devil, that silvered tongue you possess, is that a perk of the profession, or was that a prerequisite to obtaining it?
When you are thrown into the sea, you either learn to swim or you drown.
I think you might be one of the sharks.
You wouldn't be the first to think so.
My death is so inconsequential to her. Everyone. So many people's worst nightmare to die alone, you know? And I think I did.
They could say something about how we all die alone. I don't think it would help, but it's what people say.
What would death look like for you?
That is an excellent question. It would take extreme misfortune for me to find out. devils we borrow, and life is one of those things. Time is one of those things that we borrow. I could live forever if I'm smart and careful. And if I'm not, then I will go to hell. There's no other option.
Do you think my time was some of the time that you borrowed?
No. No, I don't. You ever heard the expression, God plays dice with the universe?
Up until recently, I never quite believed in God.
We are the ones making the bets. I think the truth of the matter is that you were just a girl, and you would have lived an inconsequential life, but you would have found happiness and satisfaction, and you would have made peace with that. And you died a horrible death, not for any greater purpose.
How should that make me feel?
I can do a great many things, Morgan, but I can't tell you how to feel.
I don't know if I remember how to feel anything but angry.
There's nothing wrong with anger. It's not fair. You should be angry.
Shouldn't be anything. I shouldn't be here.
And yet, does it give you comfort to know that?
But I shouldn't be here?
Yes, you keep saying it.
No. It's just another thing that makes me angry.
Then maybe you should keep saying it.
What do I do with anger?
That is a question that a devil is very qualified to answer. Do you want to find out who killed you? Do you want to punish them?
I think they must be. I mean, what else would my purpose here be except to hit some sort of vengeance? No one remembers me to do it for me. There's no one left to be angry or sad for me. No one cares that I'm gone. There's no one there to grieve or to mourn. All that's left is my rage.
Vengeance is a one-way street, which I say literally and figuratively for the living and for the dead. If that's why you're here and you find it, you won't be here anymore. When the living find it, they're confronted with the worst part, which is that when all is said and done, and the blood is drying on your hands, and your enemy lies dead before you, you still have the rest of your life stretched out ahead.
Good thing I won't have that burden then. You didn't see who killed me? You didn't see what happened next? You didn't. Did you watch me die?
I saw glimpses, but I didn't see who did it.
I don't know how to leave, and I don't have a purpose for staying. Except for getting back at who did this to me.
You could make your own purpose.
When I don't know how long I'll be here, I could evaporate at any moment.
And someone could put a bullet in my head from across this courtyard.
Would that kill you?
Anyway,
I didn't think so.
my point is that we can all die at any moment.
Someone would miss you, though.
They would. Some people would miss me.
Something about that should be reassuring to you.
You have an uncanny knack for turning my words back on me.
Seems like it's about time someone did.
I'm trying to help.
We should probably return. Check on your friend.
Very well. Will you be joining me?
Yes, I think I will.
Then let's return to salvation. And she'll hold out a hand.
Morgan will take it.
then I think that I will just lead us to a broom closet, walk through, and back to salvation.
You couldn't take the scenic route?
There's something to be said for reaching your destination quickly.
What's the need for expediency whenever you're immortal?
I can be quite impatient.
Of course.
Q, where is Dorian when these two return?
He is in the study. Everything in the house is clean. Like a couple of times over, honestly. And I think he's got a glass of whiskey that is at the dregs. Like there's just a little corner in that glass. And he's sort of sitting with it, just like here, like holding it like this, off to the side as he just sort of stares off into space.
Dorian,
Huh. Yeah. You have a nice trip?
it was not boring.
Great. Wonderful.
Miss Donatelli and the Seneschal put on quite a show.
Oh, I'm sure they did. Oh yeah, no, I met her earlier.
She is infuriating.
And you
Is
love
that the
that.
word for it?
Oh, absolutely.
I said
Okay.
what I said.
Okay. Question. This is for you, Morgan. Which one of them said good girl first?
Was I there for that? I can't remember. Chrissy was there for that. I don't think Morgan was.
I was fairly certain you were.
Yeah.
I feel like you were, but I can't remember either.
Abigail may have said it first. The Seneschal had more command behind it, I'm sure.
Yeah, that makes sense. All right.
It would have been terribly gauche for me to point out the obvious.
And you never do that, do you?
Not unless I have no other option.
That's true. Though regularly with me.
Like I said.
Don't say you don't. See, I knew you were gonna shut up. Okay. Fuck. I think he's gonna get up.
Anything interesting here, Mr. Black?
Well, the house is clean. So, there's that. Morgan.
Mm-hmm.
Are you aware of any of the details of how you passed away.
Only what Miss Donatelli's mentioned.
It's not entirely true.
Is it not?
The seneschal told us of the weapon.
Oh.
A knife
Yes.
dipped in the waters of the river Lethe.
Are you familiar?
Oh, no. Am I? Didn't think so.
Yeah, no, I don't think so.
No, I don't think so. And do I remember seeing a knife in the memory?
You do. It was on the ground beside the two of you.
Okay. I mean, I'm gonna give it the description of it.
It was fairly straightforward and nondescript. It
Okay.
was not a ceremonial dagger by any stretch of the imagination.
All right. I think he has poured himself another glass, downs that, and then pours another. Um, so I was taking a moment to reflect on my sort of and I took a little walk down memory lane. And for some reason, sort of out at the periphery, you kept popping up. And so, being the needlessly curious type that I am, I decided to investigate. And, well, I saw something that I do not recall, but I know happened.
You leaving me as I bled to death?
I had to. I stayed as long as I could.
Your bravery is commendable.
That wasn't bravery, it was self preservation.
That was sarcasm. I'm
Oh, I'm
sorry.
aware. Oh, no, I'm aware. I got it. I just chose to ignore it. I I was brand new to this place. So anyone finding me with someone of the court based on your finery, one of the affluent members of the court, it was going to be an easy mark, an easy target.
Why?
Why what?
Why her?
I don't know. I didn't get much except me holding her. She was bleeding out. I did
But
see
it,
the knife.
but it was my father. Who told you?
What do you mean?
My father told you to kill her. True or false?
False.
This wasn't when you were under his thumb?
It had to have been because it wasn't recent.
Then why else would you have done it?
I didn't do it. The knife wasn't in my hand. I found her. If I'd done it, I wouldn't have stayed, Abigail. Quick and clean. Or I'd have shot her.
I think in that moment, Dorian, you do hear Rem say just to you. Are you so certain of that? We spoke earlier about your capacity for kindness. Could you have just left her to die? Is that the type of man you are?
We're ignoring the angel and my sword. We're not doing that right now. There are pieces that are missing.
At this point, Morgan's staring daggers, but at Abigail. I thought you didn't know who.
I didn't know who, but if Dorian was the one who did it, then it would have been because my father told him to.
Is this why you were trying to talk me off the ledge of vengeance?
I was encouraging you to pursue vengeance if that's what you wanted. But there were other options. There are other options.
What
She
other
shot me before.
options?
She shot me before.
A
I
lot.
don't think. Yeah,
I'm sure you deserved it.
He did.
I don't think that I didn't.
Well,
Mm, not the point right now.
You two are the only two people in the world who remember me right now. And it might possibly be your fault.
If what Abigail is saying is true, then I think finding your father is even more imperative.
I don't disagree.
Okay. You got any friends I can talk to?
There's an option that I am considering.
Oh.
The seneschal said she would help me. On the condition that I stop being. She gestures to herself.
So you have to stop being you.
I have to stop making deals.
So basically the same thing. Sure. Alternatively, we could go speak to some of your compatriots.
I would challenge you to find any compatriots that I have not already spoken to.
Okay. Well, you've gone about it your way. I was thinking about going my way. Different results.
Are you saying you want to get heaven involved?
Now I want to get me involved. Point me in the right direction. We can have a chat.
With who?
Pick one. I'm sure that you have had dealings with people that you knew something and they refused, but made it seem like they didn't have the right information.
JD?
I think it's fair to say that what Dorian is saying is not untrue. I mean, Abigail as much said so to Nyx.
Yep.
When they talked.
Yep.
I don't know how certain Abigail is that the presence of whatever Dorian is now is necessarily going to be more effective, but it is an option on the table.
Threats and intimidation won't work.
I mean, then just start returning them to sender.
You don't understand, Dorian. You don't speak their language.
No, but you do.
I do.
And we are very good at working together when we're not trying to stab each other in the back.
Look, let me think about some options.
Okay.
What is Morrigan thinking as she hears two people who are implicated in her death and also the only two allies she currently has at this moment start to make decisions around what is meant to happen next for her?
I think, well, she doesn't have pulse or a heartbeat anymore, but regardless, that, that noise whenever you get overwhelmed or like anger overtakes you or just that thrumming in your head, I think that hits her to the point where she doesn't even hear them anymore. And again, she doesn't have to breathe. And it's probably a good thing because she probably would be hyperventilating. But at this point, she's just stiff with anger and unsureness. And so much rage that she doesn't know how to act on.
And I'm wondering, Morgan, as that anger fills the room around you, how do you imagine that affects the space?
I think that there's a chill. Maybe even like what starts as a slight breeze, turning into more of a gale of wind by the end of it, as she seethes. Because even in this conversation, it's just one more moment that she's been essentially forgotten. And I have a darkest self.
Oh dear. Oh no.
Let's
What's up?
absolutely go.
What's good? What's up?
She disappears. That coldness, the wind, it kind of lingers. But you don't see her anymore.
Well, that can't be good.
And then the glass that you were drinking out of, if you were holding it, it goes out of your hand. If it was sitting down, it goes off the table. But either way, it hits the wall and shatters.
And that, I think, is where we are going to end tonight's session.
It's one of my favorite glasses.
Darkest self, darkest self, darkest self. Oh boy.
Not a season if at least 2 or 3 people don't end up darkest self by the end.
Gosh, isn't that true?
I've spent I didn't want to kill potential RP by going immediately traumatized, but
No, for
I've spent.
sure.
I mean, you came in traumatized.
No, but the condition.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, it's fine. It's fine. Had an episode to build that up. It's great.
I'm so glad that Chrissy is here being the voice of reason saying it's fine so that I don't have to do it.
Yeah, for sure. Because you got to get a Bonham S tattoo now. That's the rule.
It's true.
It's true.
Oh, okay.
The torch has been passed.
Yep.
Where?
Wherever.
Pick a spot.
Yeah.
All right. We had a roller coaster of experiences tonight.
Did.
We also went a little bit late, so I'm going to go around, give everyone a chance to remind everyone of who you are, the awesome things you're doing, and then we will call it a night because I know 3 of us have to be back on stream in less than 12 hours.
Oh, shit, that's true. Huh.
It's true. We did this to ourselves.
Yep.
We did. So, Will, you're up first.
That's fair. That's fair and good. Hello. Hi. My name is Will. I'm one of the storytellers and the organizers here live from the apocalypse. I do a bunch of things. Most of them are here. What do I have to talk about? I have a new calendar that's over there on that wall. So let me see here. It's a busy weekend. It's a busy weekend for me and JD specifically. JD
And
more
Q.
so. JD had a stream last night. And Q. But Q's not here on Sunday. So
He's elsewhere on Sunday.
I'm at RPGs Uncovered.
That's
so
true. That's true.
Also busy.
We did this to us, as Q observed earlier. Tonight was a Sosa's. Tomorrow at 11 a.m. you can catch Class Reunion. We're in our Saturday morning cartoon era. We will be live with our 5e homebrew about a group of high school students from Ohio who have been trapped in a fantasy world for 10 years. I think this is the first time we're playing since an incredibly traumatizing, tragic incident happened.
It sure is.
Yeah.
I've been holding on to this for a minute.
So that's going to be exciting and interesting. It's been a month, I think, since that happened. And then Sunday at 1 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, we will be premiering Horizons and Halcyon Section 8, which is a companion podcast to Academy H. Just explores different aspects of the multiverse or our setting. And we're going to be using Apocalypse Keys to examine a team, a Bureau of Paranormal Research and Defense, a la Hellboy-inspired team of magical monsters, basically. But among them, you will see a familiar face. I won't tease too much about them, but I will say that JD is going to be reprising the role of Watcher from our Fallen Stars interlude story the Academy Age podcast. And then Tuesday night is Tenebris. Tuesday night is Nephilim Tenebris, the near future sci-fi game that I run, and you can catch Q in that as well. That'll be at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And Wednesday, if all goes well, which so far is so good, we will be recording the finale of Cryptic Community College, our Monster of the Week podcast set in West Virginia. We've been trying to get that in the books for a while. This Wednesday might be the Wednesday. We will see. But all of that is happening. I got a couple other things in the works. What can I talk about? In June, I'm going to be running a Pride one-shot on Just the Humans channel with some familiar folks. I can't remember the date off the top of my head, but it's going to be good. It's going to be with some people that you know and some people you don't know. But keep an eye out for that. And more announcements for that. You can follow me on social media at @AWillMScream. It's everything I got to talk about.
All right, Chrissy, you're up.
Am I? Okay. Hi, I'm Chrissy and Keller. I roll dice and make dirty jokes on the internet, and I don't have anything too exciting to announce right now. But you can go to my Twitter and watch me share way too much of my life and post things that are accidentally funny sometimes, and the occasional lewd post that's probably a little too much for Twitter. So yeah, that's my existence. It's been fun.
So aggressive.
All right, Q.
Oh, hey, I didn't see you there. Hi, I'm Q. You can find me pretty much everywhere on the internet at midnight_INQ. Q is my name. Save a horse, ride a cowboy. Zing. I've got a couple of things going on Tuesday's opposite Nephilim Tenebris, which you should absolutely be watching over here. You can also see me over at Entropy Emporium for the Horror Masks game. They call us villains. I'm playing the goodest little sad boy, sad angry boy. It's fine. You can find me on Redacted. That happened yesterday, so you got another 2 weeks where JD has... It's a time. It's a great time, but boy, is it a time. I will be here tomorrow for class reunion, and then you can see me on Sundays, every Sunday at RPGs Uncovered, where we're doing the Starcrier conflict. It's a Lancer game where I'm playing another cowboy. I keep playing cowboys. Besides that, you can find me pretty much just talking about magic or hot boys. And also hot girls, because sexuality is a spectrum. I don't fucking know. We're out here vibing.
And the best part of getting to go last is everyone has plugged the things that I need to plug, generally speaking. I will be back here tomorrow for class reunion, where I will not be playing Hunter. I will be playing a drowned rat of a wizard, and who has no trauma in the midst of this traumatized group. I'm sure that's going to go fine, and that Lindsay will make a great therapist to everyone, so you should check that out. I will then, because I make good choices, be with Exquisite Corpse Presents on Saturday night for Sister Cities, our usually non-magical D&D game that is currently magical, and we are going into a battle royale. I'll be back for Horizons and Halcyon, Section 8 on Sunday. And then next week's actually pretty chill. The only other thing I have to plug is Wednesday, I'll be over with Lost Caravan for our ongoing Cypher game that is Nova, because we started playing it as Nova and have now adapted to Cypher because we left Earth. So yeah, those are the things I have coming up. And I'll have plenty of time to plug them with the numerous things I'll be doing in the next 48 hours. So it's fine. It's fine. I did not GM 3 games in 4 days, which Will is doing this coming series of days.
It's normal. It's a normal one. It's a very normal one.
All right, Will, save us. Take us out.
Yeah, it's going to do it for us here. We're going to say goodnight. Thanks so much for hanging out. We're going to raid our friends who make the Memester of the Week podcast. They're playing Hades on their Twitch channel, Streamster of the Week. So we're going to hop over there and say hi and be friendly. And what else we got? There are social links in the chat that you can follow if you are not already, or you can join the Discord community, which is a great place full of great people, and we'd love to have you be a part of it. But I think other than that, it's going to do it for all of us here at Live from the Apocalypse. Say goodnight, everybody.
Good night,
Good night,
everybody.
everybody.
Good night.